Hi, and welcome to Table Talks on Today with Paul. Today, I'm happy to talk to you about cheating on Monopoly. Of course, this is in tribute to the recently released Cheaters Edition. And I was so excited when I saw this come out because I said to myself, they finally acknowledged all of us people out there who have cheated on Monopoly over the years and maybe even perfected it in our own way. And I don't see this as a new edition as much as a tribute to all of those of you out there, such as myself and some good friends of mine, who have gotten really good at cheating. So there you go, the new Cheaters Edition of Monopoly there, which you can pick up for a retail price of $19.79 at your local Walmart, or at least that's what I found at the online Walmart website, plus tax, of course. Now, with that out of the way, we'll go ahead and show you some eye candy here. A little bit of something there for you Marvel fans, especially you Spidey fans out there. A nice sealed Spider-Man edition. And we'll flip that on the back to give you a shot of that. There you go. And of course, the main attraction. We have here a, copyrighted date mid-1980s edition of classic Monopoly here. This board has seen many years of use and abuse and lots of fun for everyone, as you will see when we open this up. So let's go ahead, shall we? So as you can see already, this thing has been spilt on. It has had just about everything done to it. Pizza parties, little kids. I was an 80s baby, so mid 80s, and I wasn't too old then, but you can see all the nice telltale signs of a well-used board here. We're gonna go ahead and get this out of the way for right now, just for grins. First thing I want to talk about is, as you can see here, we got our nice little rules book. I'm sure you'll want to get into that, especially for all you who have never played Monopoly before. I'm not so sure. I'm thinking it'd be the younger folks that may not have, because board games, I can only imagine, are not as fashionable as they used to be with all the tablets and the smartphones and video games and other technology out there. But there you go, it's a nice shot of the directions there. Now you're gonna need those, because our first cheat on here, well, you're gonna end up figuring out who's gonna be the banker. So get rid of that for now. There you go, you got the bank here. We got all the beautiful money as you'd expect. We got the properties. Now these two stacks are going on the board. Community chest, and we've also got chance. You're gonna need your dice to roll on the board, see where you're gonna end up landing. You got your pieces here, pick your favorite. And of course we got the houses and the hotels. So all of this is gonna be more so on the board right between my hands, but the rest of it's all the banker. So with that being said, you're hoping that you have a really good friend in the game who becomes the banker. Because if you're so fortunate enough, what's going to happen is you're going to get a little bit of play with the properties, you're going to get a little play with the houses and the money, and it's all going to be under the table. So that's what's going to happen there. You know, you're struggling a little bit. Of course, they're going to look out for themselves as well, but maybe they say, okay, he's about to land on boardwalk. Throw him a little bit of money underneath the table there. Especially later in the game when the properties are so dang expensive when you land them. And please excuse me here, I got me a little Aries that's all excited, so we're gonna get him on the couch there. He likes Monopoly too. So anyways, maybe you're missing one of 3 or 4 properties, and they'll slide that to you too. Of course, also on the other hand, we're talking about building up your hotels. Well, you know, you need multiple houses to get to a hotel, and maybe you don't have enough scratch to get that last house purchase to build up to the big guy here. So maybe he passes you a nice little house underneath the table, and then all of a sudden on the next round you go ahead and purchase a pony up to that. So there you go, we got the bank there. Go ahead and get this board out here that we're all excited about, I'm sure. So here we go with the standard Monopoly board, and we're going to go ahead and get things set up here just a little bit. So we got our chance cards here, and like I said, look at this beat up thing. I see all the grease stains, and I can think of all the soda pop and all that we drank as kids, and we're going to have all kinds of fun with that. And yeah, well, this board's seen a lot of action. I'm gonna go with some of my favorite pieces here. I like to call this the Lone Ranger. We're gonna pop him on go, where we're gonna start, and that's where we're always gonna start. Of course, you can't go wrong with Toto there from Wizard of Oz, at least that's what I like to imagine. And who doesn't like a race car? Well, that's always fun. So we'll stick with those three pieces for now. And what we're gonna do is we're going to go ahead and talk about the other side of the bank. Now, I did neglect to move on to this subject before I set up our beautiful board here. But what also is going to happen with the bank is if you do not have a good friend in the bank, at some point in time, you know you're going to have to end up going to use the restroom or grab another beverage of some kind. This is an opportunity for you to walk by the bank, and if you feel confident enough, use a little sleight of hand to maybe grab a couple bills here and there, slide it in your pocket real quick, maybe just make a quick little snag at a house or something, right? The property is going to be a little more difficult. Chances are the banker is going to have a closer eye on that because we're always dealing those all day, every day, and there's only so many of them. So good luck to you on that. There's not much I can tell you as far as getting caught. Well, egg on your face. You tried, okay? That's the best you can do with that. I'm sorry about your luck at that point. So anyways, let's move on to the next subject here, which would be these two guys right here. Now, you're gonna run into some situations where you land on chance or community chest, and you're just going to end up out of luck and drawing a bad card. You're short on cash, you got to pay out so much money to the other players or whatever. Maybe it's at the beginning of the game and you end up going straight to jail. You're going to hopefully be an experienced player, and I wish the best of luck for you on that. Hopefully that's the case. If not, the gameplay will teach you as you go, and my best advice to you on that then is to try to memorize what's on these cards. When you see or land on these spots, when you see other players, try to memorize what these cards say, because what you're going to end up doing is you're going to end up straight up lying on what's on the card if it's not in your advantage. So just for instance, if it says I need to go straight to jail, well, you know what, maybe it's early in the game and I want to buy more properties, so at the very least maybe I could get a lie and say I got a get out of jail free card, and that is actually available in both Community Chest and Chance. So there you go, we got those two. Yeah, get out of jail free card, there you go. You got other options out there, maybe you even, and we're not just talking about the going to jail thing, right? But we're also talking about maybe at any point in time saying advance to go, collect $200. And that is also available on both Chance and Community Chest. Now, of course, that's going to be very useful when it comes to towards the end of the game, because towards the end of the game, you need money. And not only that, but it doesn't hurt to skip all the expensive properties, especially Boardwalk and Park Place. So go ahead and get those cards. Now, of course, there is another little fun one, and I always thought this was cute. especially being a guy, but of course nowadays we're being a little bit more open in our culture as a whole and everything. So it applies to everybody anyways, but because everybody's beautiful, right? but I always liked won second prize in a beauty contest, and just so happens to be community chest there. And so that's a good one to remember, because if you just land on there and you don't mind moving to the next space, well, hey, it's kind of a cute one to remember. It's easy to remember, and you get a little money, just $10, but big deal. So there you go on that one. So lie about your community chest and your chances, but also what's also playing into that is knowing the amount of spaces from corner to corner all the way around the board. And that's very important, because why are you lying on the card? Well, maybe it's like I said, you know you're going to jail, but maybe it tells you to go straight to, one of the utilities or something, or straight to boardwalk, Park Place or boardwalk, something like that. And you need to avoid that. Well, that's another reason to lie on these cards. But also counting your spaces will, knowing how many spaces you've got to go till you have to reach a certain destination will help. So use that in your tournament. So that leads into our next subject, and that really is the next cheat we have, is to whether you're going to skip spaces or not. Well, okay, I'm Toto here, and roll the dice there, and I got a 3. So here I am. I'm on one of 11 spaces down the row here. That's 11 total, so that means there's 10 left down here. And so this is where you're going to start talking about doing a little bit of math in your head. So we're going to go ahead, and 3 is right here. So we're on Baltic Avenue. Now I know typically I wouldn't want to land on that, so but just for the sake of whatever, I'm just going to show you what it looks like to skip a space. So we drew a 3. And this, believe me, this is not advantageous at all, but just for the example of it, we're going to go 1, 2, 3. I skipped community chest right off the bat there. If you're lucky, somebody won't catch that, and that's what we're counting on here. Gameplay can be fast. Some gameplay is long, because this game is not something that you get done in less than a few to many hours, in my experience, anyways. So you're going to be counting on the fact people are distracted, people are just having fun, and which is great. We love that. Maybe somebody's up on a break and going to grab something, and so you skip a space there. You're going to do this, like I said, to avoid things like this. Avoid things like going straight to jail. Avoid things. That's the whole point of that type of thing. Maybe even landing on community chest or chance. Because you don't know what cards you're gonna get. And maybe it's worth your gamble, so you don't worry about it. Big deal. Now, the next thing we're talking about, we're going to talk about double tapping a space. So instead of skipping one altogether, we actually want to end up short of where our dice roll. And so we got a 10 there. Oh, I really gave myself quite the example there. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to set up an example here. We got 11 spaces, and free parking is great because you're going to have all kinds of money here in the middle, and we just want to throw some money down there in the middle. So here I am. Out of this total amount, I know that there's only 9 spaces here ahead of me, and I rolled a 10. So what you're going to do is somewhere along this way, you're going to double tap a space, and just like skipping that space we did over here, you're going to hopefully, people are going to be distracted enough, or you're going to play it off well enough. So you're just going to go down the board, and you already know in your head what you need, the amount of spaces there are and all that. So you just got to play it how you want. And there you go. I made it a little more obvious. I don't know how you make it less obvious, but you're gonna. I wanted you to clearly see what I did there. But hopefully the other people are distracted. Like I said, it's all about taking advantage of the physical condition, if you will. People being fatigued and tired. Maybe just like I said, being distracted. So anyways, we're gonna get on to our ultimate cheats here. And this is when the game is getting pretty well long into the night, long into the afternoon, whatever your case is. And we're looking at ultimate fatigue and being tired and confusion. And the first one I want to look at is the different properties. And so this is going to be like my ultimate, first of two ultimate cheats I've got for y'all out there. We're going to lay out some properties, and everybody's got a little mix max of everything. Not everybody's necessarily got everything sewed up, but maybe this guy over here has the 3 light blue ones, right? And all that. So what happens is, you can see everybody's got a red property here. We got Illinois, Indiana, and also Kentucky Avenue. So, I just so happened down here, I landed on free parking. I'm gonna come into this area where it's all kinds of confused situations, and maybe there's a few people here already, and whatever. I'm sorry, Toto, you just keep falling down. He keeps falling down, ladies and gentlemen. He's just not a very stable character on this. I highly advise going with somebody just a little more stable. I don't know, maybe even the boot. Look, he felt pretty well. Like a cat with 9 lives. So anyways, here we go. This is the next fake out. We're talking about playing it up like you are landing on your own property, pretending that somebody else's property is your own. Now this is going to be a pretty slick move to make, and your opponent's going to have to be fairly well tired. But let's just say I own Indiana, and I'm Hi-Ho Silver here, and I roll a 4, and all of a sudden I'm supposed to land on Illinois. Now it's my job to say, and it's not to say anything. Don't say a word, and hopefully nobody else caught it, because all 3 of us got red property. If you don't say a word and nobody mentions it, and the next player goes and rolls, if I'm not mistaken, according to the actual rules, and I didn't count that out for real, but just for example, that's the next roll. So that last turn was done. So you're in the clear at that point. It's almost like a oh gosh, I don't know what, in the courts they say, you have a certain amount of years to catch up with somebody that did a crime. Well, in this case, it's just as simple as the next turn. So that's done with. You're in the clear. Now, if you get caught, and here is the catch line. Here is how you deal with the situation with these 2 ultimate cheats that we have here at the end of the game. You pull a classic Joel. It's just that simple. And you kind of go, oh gosh, oh my goodness, I can't believe I just did that. Oh, I'm sorry. Go back or whatever, and here's your money I owe you. Okay, so you do that move. So we got that one covered. Now this is the one. If you're feeling really, really, really confident, and I mean ultimately confident, and we're going to move our players around, disperse them a little bit. You roll them dice, and I'm a good old Lone Ranger over here still, and I don't like the space that's coming up for some reason. I go ahead and pick a player's piece that is not vulnerable to payment or something like that, ideally, because I'm going to pretend that I am there, that I am their character, I am them, and I'm going to move their piece. So that's what's going to happen there. So for some reason, I want to be the race car all of a sudden because I don't like where the Lone Ranger's headed. And this is, I mean, like I said, ultimate confidence because you have got to, yeah, hopefully, it is late in the game. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And for some reason, I wanted to go to Kentucky Avenue. Now, if you get caught on this one, you're gonna pull a classic Joel again. But let me tell you, they are not gonna be happy with you, and everybody's gonna know that you're a cheat. there's no real accident there. Good luck on trying to explain that you confused a horse with a guy on it for a race car. But there you go. You got your how to cheat on Monopoly. I had me and my friends back in the day. We used to meet up on Friday nights in high school, and we used to play a nice game of Monopoly. And that's where we really got our chops in. That's where I developed all of this knowledge, if you will, because we got so bad at cheating that when somebody had to leave the basement to go grab a beverage or use the restroom or something, everybody had to leave the basement. So I don't know how bad all of you out there are going to be getting as far as being cheaters at Monopoly, but that's how bad we got. So with that being said, I hope you enjoyed this episode. I want to thank you for sharing, liking, and subscribing as always, and I hope to catch you next time. Peace.